everybody, welcome to my channel, Buffy's Random Reality. This video probably is going to be the hardest video I ever have to make. Alright, the first part that I want to explain, number one, I don't want pity. And I don't want people being ignorant and saying negative things. And if somebody feels negative about what I have to say, then I'm just going to say remove yourself from my Facebook or unsubscribe to me, because if you feel I'm at all wrong for revealing this part of my life, then I would have a problem with you. So, yeah. I'm going to explain my past. And a lot of people who would probably be watching, kids that I grew up with, I don't think they ever knew, or if they did, they heard it through the grapevine. But for the most part, this will be new to a lot of people. So, alright. When I was younger, I hate to use the word molestation. In the court's eyes, I was molested, and in my eyes, I was raped. Yeah, it wasn't no little touch here, little touch there. Yeah, it was heinous. Okay, so my ordeal started as early as I can remember. My first memory was as early as 3 years old, and I remember it as something normal. And I'm not going to say any names, and I'm definitely not going to give a title because he doesn't deserve one. All I'm going to say is was not just sexually abusive, he was also mentally and physically abusive. Yeah, the abuse happened from the time I can remember, as early as I can remember. And to think that at 3 years old, I thought it was a normal part of my life. I thought this is what happens to every little girl. He continued this all the way till I was 11 years old. And he then fled to another state. When I was 14, I came out with it. We were told that there was a warrant out for his arrest, and if he ever came to Pennsylvania, he would be arrested. Well, he knows this, so he chose not to come to Pennsylvania. Yeah, I had some really tough times. I don't want people to view me today, and I shouldn't even say that because I really am a victim. I'm 46 years old and I'm still suffering at the hands of what he did. And I think it's even worse, the fact that he got away with it in the sense that he fled, and I'm never going to have justice. I'm never going to have justice. And that's how I feel anyway. So, and I feel like this, if somebody goes and says that you raped them and you didn't, I would definitely, I don't care if I had to go 10 states, justify that I didn't do it, I would do that. I would have to clear my name. And I'm sure a lot of yous agree with that. And the ones that don't, well, then you might find yourself that you're in that same situation as he is. I'm 46. I'm 46 years old. So, I was 14. He's not arrested. He won't come here. He's got freedom for the last, what, how many years? 32 years of freedom. And I lived a nightmare for all these years. I didn't lie to my children. I didn't lie to my husband. I didn't lie to nobody. But yet, you sit where you are and just have the nerve to tell people that I'm lying. When I was 21 years old, a article about Megan's Law, Megan Kanka, who was murdered by a repeated sex offender. At this time, only very limited people knew by the time I was 21. So I thought, okay. I called the newspaper about how I felt about Megan's Law and why we should be warned when there's pedophiles. They asked me to come down. So I go down and they want to hear my story, and I was in the newspaper. He asked me for a picture. I gave him a picture of when I was the victim. So at that time, it was a picture of me at like 5 years old that I had, and he said, well, can I get a picture of you as an adult? So I'm 21, and I said, okay, but you have to have this picture. I don't want people to view me as, I don't want people to associate that with me. Because see, now I'm forming a new life. I'm 21 years old. I'm learning. I'm in a different life, and I'm trying to put all the pieces of my life together. So I'm trying to separate from child to adult. When the next day came, he promised me, I said, or don't put no picture at all. So the next day, it comes out in the newspaper, and there's only a picture of me. No picture, the picture I gave him. I called him up and I said, excuse me, I told you not to put that picture in there unless you put the picture of me when I was a child, when I was, the abuse happened then. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, but my boss wouldn't let me do it. He said it would only cause vigilantism. And I thought, So we're protecting the perpetrator. Okay. So the pedophile gets away with it, and we're going to protect him. But there's no voice to little Buffy. It just happened, and we just let it go. Okay. And, throughout those years, I don't know. I was not right with a lot of things. There's times that I couldn't figure what was wrong with me. Like where something would, like I would see something or hear something. Like, for example, if my daughter would say, oh, daddy, because it felt weird to me. I couldn't celebrate Father's Day I would put on that, oh yeah, and I love my husband and I wanted my kids to enjoy having Father's Day for their dad, because of course, they have the most amazing dad. But for me, it brought shame for me. It brought an awkwardness for me. All right, so I gave you a little insight on my past. So I think that when my husband and son really wanted me to do YouTube, I think it was their way of trying to give me an outlet for my depression and anxiety. And I have to say this whole year has been crazy. Extremely crazy. Now, mind you, I'm going to backtrack here for a second. In my last video, it was my No Small Creator video, and I talked about, oh, like I was really pumped, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try to put up so many videos a week, and I really had all those intentions. I made videos. They're sitting in my laptop right now. I mean, I have several. All I have to do is edit. I said I wasn't, when I step out, I wasn't going to come back and explain myself, because I also explained that I have anxiety and depression, and those things, sometimes things will just hit and I will just back out, get my stuff together, and then I'll come back in. Well, and I didn't want to explain every time that happened, but something happened. I wanted to backtrack to the beginning of this year. Number one, I mean, this is irrelevant, but in January, after I made the No Small Creators video, I got sick. And I was sick for some time. I spent many hours actually making videotapes, and so I downloaded them onto the computer, and I thought this will give me something to do, and I'll be able to pop out, you know, a lot of content that week. And when I get to my YouTube page, there was a couple that I am subscribed to, and they're called SBSK, Special Books by Special Kids. It's a channel that shows kids with disabilities, and these people are wonderful. It warms my heart just how loving they are and how they go. I'm thinking around the world, because that's what I'm thinking, but they go all over the place. I can't even, I can go on and on. If you can, please go and check them out. And SBSK, Special Books by Special Kids. I mean, it's touched me. Every video's touched me. I think they did a great job. So, okay, now I'm going to fast forward. They had a video expressing how upset they were when YouTube had their comments disabled. And I was like confused. This is now mind you, we're in February. I think it was February, end of March. So I'm all pumped. I'm ready to edit these videos. And when they said that all channels that had children, supposedly YouTube had disabled comments on videos that featured children or family channels and so forth. Mind you, I'm really confused at this point. And I went and checked my channel. So I go and check my channel, and they had disabled comments on 6 of my videos. So number one, I have more than that of children, of my grandchildren, and 6 of them were disabled. I don't know what happened to me. I felt so confused, and so I started researching. The reason is because pedophiles were going into the videos, and they were marking down where children were in compromising positions. They were literally time stamping so another pedophile can come in and look. YouTube didn't know what to do. From what I hear, people had reported it, and so what they did was they stopped all comments on family channels, children's channels, and of course videos that display a child. Okay, so at this point I'm feeling something not right, because in my head I'm like, okay, the pedophile can still watch, but now children, like especially the channel I was just telling you about, where people would write in and these kids would get excited and they would feel like, wow, all these people love us or love me, and they would be inspired. And it was, I can't even tell you. I mean, it opened up even light to me with this channel. Like, this channel is really inspiring. But for me personally, it hit another chord. I felt that I had to explain it so that people understand that, or even YouTube would understand that this goes a whole nother way. It's not only do I feel like this is horrible for the channel or the channels that are helping children, or that even a child's displayed in, and I'll answer how I feel about children, of course. I mean, I had my grandchildren on YouTube, but when YouTube did that, I just felt, wow, it's almost like the third time in my life that I felt like a victim all over again. And to me, I feel like I don't think YouTube gets it. Comments by a lot of people, and they said, you guys should get your kids the hell off of YouTube. Your kids shouldn't be on YouTube. You shouldn't have your kids on social media. And I don't know, you know what? Maybe back then I would have, I would have maybe agreed. I would have agreed back then, years ago, because you know what? When my daughter was 10 years old, it's the first time I let her go out in the backyard by herself. Because I always thought when I would see an out-of-state license plate, I would think, he's come back to do something to my kid for revenge. I was always afraid. I would always constantly grill my kids. Are you sure nobody's touching you? Da da da. Like, I just felt like, as far as trying to be a normal mom, I never felt like I could be a real normal mom. You know, I always went excessive to certain things, and my kids suffered. My husband suffered, even though they don't realize it, but he didn't have a normal wife, and my kids didn't have like a normal mom, because I was always paranoid. And I don't know, the whole makeup of everything that happened made me into a different kind of person. And so I could talk about it. Like, I got to the point where I can talk about it with my closest friends. You know, I could do that. But as far as that, I never was like public, like this public. I mean, our town newspaper, but I don't even think a lot of people even knew me. Nobody really said anything to me. I know that the sex offender that hurt me, that he got wind of the newspaper article. He said I was a liar, amongst other people who said I was a liar. I wouldn't spend my entire life on a lie destroying my family. And I'm probably never going to get another opportunity than this if chance to say how evil he really is. I hope when he dies he rots in hell. I have went over and over in my mind about this video and about how I was going to I just kept playing over in my head about how I was going to make this video. And I feel like I'm all over the place. And I just thought nobody's going to understand, like, how I got to this point. Why I want to go ahead and reveal my past. And I'm not looking for any sympathy because I don't need it. Nobody stood up for me when I was little. Nobody, they let me down. I'm not saying not like my mother or nothing, because my mom was a great mom. But the only reason why I don't need your sympathy is because I sat at the police station scared. I sat in the courthouse scared, and nobody sat there and gave me compassion enough to go and get him and put him in jail, or even allow me to have my day in court. So he knows who he is, and if I'm a liar, all he needs to do is come here and confront me, and I will be so glad to pay for a lie detector test for me and him. And we know how this will work out. We know how this will work out. And see, I just feel that we're catering way too much in helping them. I'm hoping that you could totally see where I'm coming from. Now, I don't think YouTube really understands that they're creating victims. Because, see, when these pedophiles would mark or, comment what they were doing, if somebody saw it, they can report it, because obviously somebody reported it or nobody would have known. We live in a world today, technology is huge. And in my feelings, I feel that they could get caught. You know what? I probably would have, back then when I was trying to hide my kids from pedophiles, because I didn't want them to be a victim, I lived a very sheltered life. My kids didn't live a real free environment. My kids will say they had a great life. I think that they only say that to appease me. But I feel that today I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel that it's right to have to hide our children or our grandchildren or any child. I feel that is so, I get it that YouTube is like, this is how we're protecting our kids, but think about it. Little girl, 10 years old, was walking her friend 1 block from her house, and she was kidnapped in between and murdered on her way back. Do you think that child was not on social media? That child, back then, I mean, this is quite an old case. That child wasn't on social media. That child was just being watched. So unless you actually take every child off of any social media, remember, no movies, no commercials, no nothing. Take all your children and you lock them in a closet, because pedophiles are everywhere, and it's never gonna change until we literally do something about it. Pedophiles are everywhere. There's no safe place, honestly. I'm going to tell you, my rapist was held a Bible study in our home. He was a constable for our community, and he was a rapist. There is no safe place. We need to do something about that. And I feel that by taking the comments off, it is giving them leverage. Taking it where just because this way they can't comment on a video, that's just giving them leverage. It's just giving them a safe zone. It's like saying to all the stupid pedophiles, you know what, we're going to help you out. Yeah, you shouldn't mark it, you shouldn't mark the video, but hey, you can still watch, and we'll punish the kids, because that's what you did. And maybe not realizing it, but I feel that's what you did. And I'm 46 and I feel punished, because it never seems that there's enough punishment unless they do the ultimate and kill somebody. It just seems that there's never going to be justice. I'm never going to get justice. I'm never going to get justice, because he chooses not to come here. I don't know if YouTube, I don't think that there was anything intentionally to try to hurt anybody, or at least I don't know. I'm not going to claim that I do or not, because I'm still learning about this YouTube world, just the dynamics of even still using a camera. I'm still computer illiterate. I mean, I'm still learning about the computer and everything else. So anyway, so I'm gonna jump forward now. I'm gonna explain a little bit about me. I didn't want to share this on this social media. I didn't want to share it because I wanted to have YouTube be something new and all about the good stuff. And every time I step out and I deal with the bad stuff, I could come in and I can create something new. When I came in and I saw comments were disabled, I don't know what happened inside me. I wanted to not do YouTube anymore. I, like a child, wanted to put everything behind me and just move on. I felt like a victim. My friends, when we were kids and they're watching this now, I most likely probably envied your life. Not that I wanted to take anything away from my friends. I just probably marveled at the fact that you had a dad and the normalcy of your life. Yeah. All right. So, as hard as it is, I might as well just move on, because I'm never going to get this video done. I've been working on this video for so long that I feel like it's crazy. To end my video, for the ending of my video, I want to answer some questions that are often asked of me. The most common question people ask me is, if you were so badly abused, how did you end up having children and a sexual relationship with your husband? And I don't understand why people would ask me that. But it's a legit question, I guess. And my answer is, I'm not a child. It's amazing how my husband of almost 30 years could delicately put pieces back together again. 1 year after revealing what happened, I got pregnant with my daughter. And sometimes things happen for a reason, and I truly believe she was my reason for living. And even still today, knowing she's gonna be almost 30, she's still one of my reasons for living. But I guess you'd have to know my kids. You would have to know my husband to know how lucky I truly am. And why at this very moment, I feel it myself. My husband, without knowledge as a young boy, helped a broken girl. And together, we have the most amazing kids. And I tell you that I honestly have to say my kids never wavered when it came to the compassion of their mom. My husband never wavered when it came to the compassion for his wife. So, I just want to say, there are women out there, courageous women, who have been raped, got pregnant, and chose to keep their child. They learned how to separate the abuse, and they actually are also married and can separate that abuse and live a normal life. When people say, if it was so horrendous, how do you sleep with your husband? It's simple. We're adults. I'm not a child. It's simple. For anybody, I'm not thinking, but for anybody who dealt with sexual abuse in general, I know, we're called survivors for a reason. And you do survive. And it's up to you. I don't like to say it, but I truly believe it, that it's up to you on how you survive. And for me, I feel my greatest of happiness will come when there's justice. But I also know, I also believe, in the end, when he goes and I go, I don't believe we'll meet up in the same place. And life is good. Peace.